again to another series here on August, and it's still your favorite host, Digital Pinkly. And just as you guys know it, we always talk about media, marketing, tech, education on this podcast. And we have no, not another, no, it's a special guest that you already know, and he's back again. Let's just call it series two this year. I think the first one we were talking about coding, and this time around we'll be talking about an interesting topic. But first, I want him to introduce himself again. Yeah. So, can you kindly reintroduce yourself again on the podcast? Let them get to know you. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Trevor. I'm the owner of Adventures Tours New York here in New York City. Do tours for major events, things like that. First, I'd like to thank Digital Baby for inviting me back again um, for another series. Thank you.
You're welcome. We are glad to have you here again.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So yes, as you guys know, yeah, Trey is the founder of Adventurous Thousand Y. If you've ever seen me post his ads on my podcast, or you've also heard me talk about it, yeah, it's Trey that owns it, and I also manage it for him. And so far so good. I will just kindly put it out there and recommend him, as always, that if you need someone who would take you on a very good tourist guide around New York. Probably you're in diaspora or you're in Africa region, wherever you are. Because I know we have different people streaming me across radio, podcast, different platforms. So as you're listening to it, is description, is website details, his number and email address is going to be in this podcast. So feel free to reach out to him. And he also has a YouTube channel, which he didn't talk about. Do you want to talk about it, or you want me to talk about it? And he has his podcast, period. So do you want to talk about it, or you want me to do that?
Yes, I'll briefly mention it. So, basically, the YouTube and Spotify is called New York Podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and we talk about local events around the city, um, news, media, things that's going on throughout the country, the world, anything that I would find interesting. We'll talk about, and we'll post it on YouTube and Spotify.
Perfect. So I'm also gonna put his podcast link, both the one on Spotify and also the one on his YouTube. So I want you guys to go listen to his podcast, because he's also a podcaster. Trey is actually a very creative, skillful person. So he's not just the tourist guy, he's also a podcaster, and it's also a lot of good great stuff. So just keep following him and you get to know more about him. Yeah, so let's get right into this topic for today. Basically, it's actually a very sensitive conversation. For me to bring him on board, it took a lot of courage from him, from his own part, because when we talk about this type of topic, it's usually very, very sensitive. It comes with someone who have gained experience in that should I call it sector, or in that institution, and they are now about to you know share their insight to help younger men or those who are already in it on how to navigate having a long lasting relationship. So we'll be talking about the vows we make and the ones we break, an honest look at marriage and divorce. And Trey is a divorcee. So Trey, let's start with um, did you ever felt that you would ever go into what we call divorce? Did it ever occur to you, even before your marriage or after?
No, I don't think that's something that most people, including myself, think about when you're going into a situation like that. Most people when they get married, they're very happy. They're in love with the person. They think that it'll be forever. It's like the Bible says, forever do us part until death.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes situations and things change. I would say especially here in the United States. Um, one of the things people always talk about is like money, financial situations.
Hmm.
Especially here in Northeast, you have to work very hard and long. Like myself, I work very many hours a day. I have several different jobs.
Hmm.
Um, things are very expensive here.
Hmm.
So if you're not at home, you're not spending. And then also your other partner too is also working. Because I've been in situations, that even with regular relationships, where both of us are working a couple jobs. So we're not really seeing each other. We're passing each other. Hi, hi, see you later.
Hmm.
When I'm going to work, they're coming back, vice versa. So
Hmm.
a lot of the relationship is built over telecommunication,
Hmm.
texting mostly, and sometimes as people get lonely, they have needs, and then some people end up, um, doing things, engaging behavior that they should be engaging in.
Hmm.
Um, Also, too, sometimes people they was because of the finances as well. And people will get upset and start seeking out another partner, or they'll have people for providing their needs for financial, sexual, whatever it is.
Hmm.
And a lot of times, I would say, um, that's a big one, a big number one thing for
Yeah.
divorce is
Hmm.
financial. Also, lack of communication,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
rush into marriage too quickly without knowing a person, which I would say is one of the
Hmm.
really ones. I would say ignoring some of the red flags, overlooking it because you're lonely, you want someone, or the
Hmm.
person's really hot, as some would say, and when you get into it, it's like, oh no, what have I done?
Hmm.
But I would say, from my own experience, if that happens, if you get into get out quick. It's easier, it's cheaper to get out quicker than it is later on because
Hmm.
most of the people have told me in the past, because they've been married for so long,
Hmm.
it's cheaper to keep them. Which
Hmm.
means that if they're divorced after they've been so many years, they're going to lose. They have a house together, they have kids, they
Hmm.
have retirement, pension, different things. So it's going to cost them a hefty penny to,
Hmm.
and that's just what they're going to lose. They also it's found for divorce, a lot of money. And then you have a broken home, broken family. Some people, you hear the term, people say, I'm just staying because of the kids,
Hmm.
because they don't want the kids to be in a broken home, which I get that, but then you're sacrificing your happiness and your health
Hmm.
because of you're trying to for the kids, and then because of that too,
Hmm.
because you two are not great together anymore,
Hmm.
other behavior because they exhibit, then the kids will start to see. Because the kids these days, they're very super smart, more than us, because mainly
Hmm.
because these smartphones and
Mm-hmm.
technology, they pick up on things very quick, and then they'll spread out through their life, and then they'll take it to school, and then they'll start talking in school, and the school's in your business, then next ACS or
Hmm.
CBS, and the police are filling up all kind of nonsense that's happening.
Hmm.
So um,
Interesting.
I would definitely say that you have to have very good communication. You have to make sure that who you're with, that they're your rock. They're gonna be
Hmm.
with you. You're not gonna be like by yourself. Like, okay, if you're against vaccines, then the person you're with should be on the same page. Otherwise,
Hmm.
that's gonna be an issue.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
if you want to homeschool them and if they want to go for the school, you're not on the same team and you didn't know someone didn't know, then that's going to be an issue later on. So,
Hmm.
I would say like people always say when things didn't work out, they'll ask, well, did you ask this? Did you know this? What, you did it too quick?
Hmm.
But then I'm too in the dating stages. It's a little uncomfortable to ask about, especially when it comes to someone's finances. But I
Hmm.
mean, it's very important because if not, later on, everyone will reap the consequences of that. So
Hmm.
it's very important that you know, um, that's addressed if you're considering in that situation.
Hmm.
And two is like even dating is like is really really cliche, especially in state because in
Yeah.
terms, especially the women who will say they want princess treatment
Hmm.
or soft life. And
Mm-hmm.
even a lot of the, on the dating apps, you'll see it that what they'll say, a lot of them will say, "Oh, don't almost all of them say don't ask about sex. They don't even
Mm-hmm.
things like that. They have a whole list of requirements. You have to be funny. You have to do this. I'm like, okay, well, all these things you want, and what are you providing? What are you giving?
Hmm.
And for them, I'm like, okay, well, I'm the table. This is me. I come as I am. It's like for guys, it's really difficult because everything is put upon the guy.
Hmm.
You're expected to do everything, and then it's like and then
Hmm.
if you have a family, there's even more.
Hmm.
And then I was listening to a podcast yesterday. I knew my list anyway, and the guy was talking about that. Like for the guy aspect, when you have a family, it's not about you feeling how you feel, about you feeling happy. You're the protector of the family, so that's your role to do this, do that.
Hmm.
And I thought about it, damn, I said, no wonder why some of the
Hmm.
men are not happy, but that doesn't, because I feel like, the guy happiness is very important. And so I kind of agree with him on that part that, it is important for everybody to be happy, feel fulfilled.
True.
And then once someone's not feeling fulfilled, and especially if they're not communicating that, they're going to seek that fulfillment elsewhere. I mean, it's human nature.
Hmm.
And most of the time it's at work because that's where we are. And at least in the U.S., a good portion of your day, and if you have multiple jobs, it's all day. So you're going to see the fulfillment at work because that's where you more time at work than you are at home, especially if you're not seeing your partner. And if you, and there's sometimes the issue with with parenting, with daycare and kids. A lot of times, the mother anyway living with their mother, and the mother, which is the grandmother, is babysitting, taking care of the kids
Hmm.
while the parents are working because of course daycare here is really expensive up here in New York. So
Wow.
I don't have any kids, thank God. So I don't have to worry about that.
Hmm.
I don't have to worry about child support or type of things because those things are just a killer.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
In fact, try the podcast, and you can actually tell he has taken over this podcast. I'm just busy listening.
me too. I was listening as I was going over everything, and I was seeing it's so much, and I said, "Geez, where am I going to start?"
Hmm.
I said, "How am I? What am I going to say?" It's like um,
Yeah.
but I guess
You
what you
the
gotta know.
audience are really glad to have you back. I personally am glad because I'm more of listening because I've never been married before, and I know I've seen a lot of people go on Google and ask people who is my husband. Some people even go on Google to even ask if I'm married. It's that bad, you know. And I wonder what
Really?
I wonder of all things to go on Google to search for. Why go and search if I have a
What they
husband?
afraid? They afraid to ask you?
When I saw that keyword, try when you go on Google and you scroll down, you will see some keywords of questions people ask about you. So when I saw the keyword, I was just the funny part when some of them even went ahead to go and ask, "How old am I?" It's so funny how people are so interested to know because they know they are not closer to you. So they feel okay, maybe she probably put some things online. So I know I'm not close to her, but let me go on Google and search. Um
I never knew that. I never knew you could get those up there. I know you can Google search yourself, but I
yeah.
never know you could Google and see what people are asking about you.
Yeah,
Wow.
people ask Google for certain things about a person, especially if that person is like a social media influencer or
Yeah.
a public, because you now you're also a social media influencer as well. because you have your own
Yeah.
podcast, you have your own channel. Along the line, because you have about 1,000 subs going to 2,000 subs, right? So there will come a point in your life where you just see people, they want to be curious to get to know you. You understand? Maybe, like you said, maybe they can have interest in you. And generally speaking, maybe they might not. Maybe they're just curious. People can just be curious to find out a lot about someone without asking them. And Google sometimes don't say everything because of the type of information I put out there. Most of the time, I really don't put out most personal details. Most of the time, you see me post business. Either I'm managing a brand, or I'm teaching, or I'm on a field. Just few stuff. You understand? So, first thing first, I think this podcast will clarify that I am not married. I have never been married before. Neither am I a divorcee, and I'm not a single mother. So if there's anybody who is ever thinking that, I think this is why this podcast is here. I know this podcast will definitely mention it even on Google later on because of AI, right? So that has been cleared. So when Trey came on board, we actually wanted to do it like a live session, but Trey kept on saying podcast, and the thing just occurred to me that, okay, why not we bring it up again on podcasts? Because if it was a live section, it wouldn't go this far across all distribution platform on Apple, on Spotify, on radio platforms. So I want it to go across, because if it was a YouTube live, it would be limited and most people won't be able to have access to these kinds of information. And Trey, you said a lot of vital points that I took note of. First thing first, you made mention of finances. That's number one. Number two, you made mention of communication. That's number two. Number three, you mentioned what we call being on the same page, right? Then number four, you also mention happiness. And I want the listeners to pay attention to this ally point, because we're going to break it down bit by bit. Now, after you mentioned happiness, um, the other aspect you mentioned is what men go through in marriages, especially when the woman wants princess treatment and she doesn't want to add any value. And when she's asked, what table did you bring? And then she says she's the table. It's more like marriages don't favor men. If that's how you put it, is that correct? Like, did you put it like marriages?
Well, with the present treatment, things like I was trying to say that that's even before that's in the dating. If you're just getting to know, like they'll put it out there like
Okay, on
that.
the
So
dating. Good.
those are terms that you hear that know that they expect for you to take care of them, and you
Okay.
may or may not get anything back in return. A lot of times they go refer to as a trick. Basically, a guy giving woman money but not really getting anything.
Okay, then that's okay. So to clarify that, it's more like a leech. A leech is a taker, nothing to add, no no value. Okay, I get that part now. So I think we have like five highlights. So the first is finances. Now that financial aspect, I learned that from you. Again, I've been hearing a lot of married couples and divorced people say that finances can affect marriages, and I strongly believe that finances is very key. And Trey is so right, because if you, when you are single, you can't be able to take care of yourself, what's the possibility that when you get married you will be able to take care of that marriage, whether you are a man or you're a woman? And also, he pointed out that most times men have to do most of all the bills paying, right? And sometimes a man would definitely need some help, need some support, right? And that's what makes me a little bit different from other women, because I don't see myself as a liability to my partner, whoever I am married to, right? I am not married. I am not married. I'll say it again. Because some people assume I'm married because of how I behave or how I talk, or how I act,
Right.
organize. So people just assume I'm married and I have kids. I could go out and go somewhere. I went to do my eye checkup. I think I told you I went to get my glasses and all, because I think you will start seeing me wear my glasses. So the woman told me that how is my family and children. I didn't even need to explain to her. I just told her they are all fine in
Right.
advance. They are all fine. Sometimes you can't even explain to people most of the time because people perceive that at some
The
certain age
thing
in your.
is, you don't have any kids. You get that kind of response.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You get what I mean. Sometimes people just assume. I don't blame them. I just feel, when a woman reaches a certain age, you just believe that, oh, she's supposed to be married and all. But let's get back into the financial aspect. For me as a woman, because Trey is talking from the male perspective, and I'm talking from the female perspective. And I know a lot of women are going to bash me on this. Some of them are going to say, "Oh, I'm trying to support the men. What do you mean that as a woman you must not be a liability? As a woman, you must contribute in some certain areas of your marriages, that and that." I grew up in a home where my mom was contributing. I think it's a thing that comes from family background, which is why Tress says something about communication. It's very important to get to know the family background of who you're getting married to. What were their parents doing in their marriages? Do you understand? Because I grew up in a home where my mom was contributing, my dad was contributing. My mom is a career woman. She retired as a deputy director of education here in Nigeria in Lagos State. Right? I wrote a book about her. I dedicated the book to her. So she's a career woman and she taught me about being independent. She taught me and my sisters and my brother about being independent, about being self-independent. My mom is this type of person. When you're of a certain age, she believes you need to gather skills. In the year of 1990s, she bought a computer for her children. She didn't even know the importance of AI and technology. She just knew that computer was just a way forward to make her children be as successful in whatever field they get into. My mom was those type of mother who bought computers in the 2000s, and then those things were very expensive because in an African homes, when you have that, that shows a level of wealth you have in your life. But that was one thing my mom did. She sacrificed a lot for her family and her children. It wasn't even my dad that bought the computer. It was my mom. I'm sharing some personal stories that I feel a lot of mothers, a lot of parents listening to it, a lot of couples who have children can resonate to it. She made such a great sacrifice in my life and that of my sibling because I learned computer from a very younger age. So when I see a lot of people trying to compare me, compare my IQ, compare how fast I'm able to do things, I'm sorry. My background is different. I was raised differently. I started learning computer when I was little, after I was giving birth to. The next thing I started learning computer. So computer is like my life. So when you see my name talk about digital, it's because it's my life. It's how I was brought up. So yeah, my mom contributed in the homes, contributed in the financial aspect in our marriages. Even our family, they really respected her. They came for her retirement. There's a level of respect a woman have when you contribute to the family. Do you understand? But when you are a leech as a woman, you are a liability, and you need to take note of that. And we are seeing a generation of women not understanding the fact that you are doing yourself of no good if you're a liability. I can't imagine throughout the day in your marriage, you are not thinking of how to add value in the life of your husband. Okay, fine. If you don't want to do business, you want to be a stay-at-home wife, you can at least support in cooking and cleaning, and then still supporting your husband business, talking about your husband business to your family, to your friends, to your church. Like, why would you close your mouth? A mouth closed is a mouth that never wants to be fed. You know that this your husband needs some jobs, needs some gigs, needs money to put food into this marital home, and you are there saying you want to do only princess treatment and nothing to add as apart from your body, your beauty, and what again, and the cooking and all. There is more to it. There is more to it. So financial aspect, as a woman, you need to have skills. So if you're a man and you're looking, that's why sometimes I laugh over men. I'm sorry, but I laugh over men sometimes because I've been in a relationship where I've seen most of my exes Sometimes some of them even come back because maybe they have gone around the old streets. They see that, oh, there's no woman like me, and now they're looking for second chance, which definitely they will never get. I'm sorry. I'm this type of person. When I'm in a relationship with you, I give my all. When I mean I give my all, if because Trey is very close to me, I'm this type of person. I give my all in it. But when I realize that you're a leech, I withdraw myself. And that's what happened in relationship. When I see that I'm giving too much of my time, my energy, my effort, my love, and we are not, I remove myself. So when you go out on the street and you see that no woman is like me and your senses comes right, I will not be available, even if I'm single. Because I feel people are so very intentional about what they do. Even though we say human beings make mistakes, for me to be intentional about how to make you a better man, you should be intentional on how to make me a better woman. I can't be the only one trying to make you better. What about me? So if you're having marriages with a woman that do not have a skill, then you're on your own. You're having marriages with a woman who do not even have some level of finances. Not even, okay, let's just even say at least she has $100, or she has $200, or she has $300. But a woman that has no dollar in her account, just zero, that's a red flag. Do you understand? Because it's going to make her comfortable. And being in a comfort zone is very deadly. It's very deadly because the world is so tough that you need to survive with so much tough skills, so much tough knowledge. So yes, you need to put your shit together with your finances. You may not be the most richest woman or richest man, but at least have something. Be able to save. In my last relationship, because me, I'm gonna be very, very personal. Trey don't need to be, but me, I will be, because I've been on this podcast and have been talking about my relationship once in a while. And I think I wrote a book about my last relationship, which you haven't read. If you've read it, good for you. If you've not read it, just check the link in the bio in this podcast and go get your copy at Sefani. My last relationship taught me that some men don't even know what they want. When this guy went to marry another woman, before he went to marry another woman, he told me that I'm different. And then I asked, why would you say I am different? Then I now realized that the reason he said I'm different, probably it could be financial reasons. Maybe she has more money than me, because we used to say that, okay, men are gold diggers, women are gold diggers. Yes, we have men also that are gold diggers, men who also want luxurious things. We also have men who want processed treatment, not just women alone. So if I had married that type of person, Trey, I'm telling you, I will go through a lot in my life, because when I was in that relationship with this guy, I was crying, I was depressed. I was just depressed. I was not happy. But when I got out of that relationship, I found peace. So I know that whoever that marries that guy, she will probably be regretting it by now. Trust me. She will be regretting it by now. So just the same, yeah, just the same way no man wants a liability is the same way a woman don't want a liability in a man. So it's very good you both come together and work together to build your homes financially. You go into what we call investment platform. I started this journey of investing in all this what do they call it, stocks. Now I'm starting small, because if you're doing anything investment, you have to be very smart about it. I don't do trading, no, but I do investment. I even offer it as a services. If you want to learn how to do your investment stuff, you just save something inside and then watch it grow. And that thing is in dollar, right? Then there's the aspect of savings. My last relationship, I learned that the person I was in a relationship with, he cannot save. Once he get this amount of salary today, the money don't go. I'm sorry, maybe you don't understand pidgin, but you're learning small small. The money don't go, it don't vermouth, it don't comot. There are some men that have bad savings habits. They cannot save for raining day. There are some women that they will use the money their husband is giving them to go and buy luxury wig. Very foolish set of women. If you give me that type of money, by now you will see your business triple. Because the money that you're supposed to use to think of how to generate more wealth, a woman will carry that money and go and buy the most expensive bags, Louis Vuitton. You know all this luxury stuff now. All these luxury bags, luxury shoes, and then you come on social media and you post it. What happens after you're bankrupt? Won't you go and sell those luxury stuff? So it's very important you are with somebody who understand saving, why you should save, so that when you guys are having children, they will also learn it as a habit. They will have what we call a piggy bank. You must marry somebody that understand marriage. So I want to ask you, Trey, because I think I've said a lot. Though I want to break the points. I've started with finances. Should I continue, or I should go on with the question I want to ask you?
Go with the question.
Okay. So the question I want to ask you: what's your view of marriage? How do you see marriage, even before you were divorced and even after? What is your view before and what is your view after?
Well, I'm going to be a little biased here. I'm trying not to, but the thing was, I, I'm a little person. I never wanted to get married, because of, experiences, people I know, and I was afraid of losing,
Hmm.
being taken to the cleaners. So I was dating this, young lady, and that's been more years ago. We was together for almost 6 years, and basically, she was my rock. She was my rock. She held me down and everything. And she wanted to get married. She always wanted to get married, have kids. I didn't want any of that.
Hmm.
And I was afraid to tell her.
Hmm.
I was leaving on, unfortunately, and once it all ended, she basically gave me ultimatum, and then we ended up just breaking up.
Hmm.
We talk every once in a while, but I mean, she was a good woman. She cooked. She cooked every night, which is something you rarely find nowadays. Even if she
Hmm.
came home late, she cooked dinner. Um, Even if she was mad, that dinner was never taken out as a punishment. Um, Things like that. Then shortly after, I met someone. They was from another country, so the only reason why I did it because they was in order for them to come here, I would have to marry them. But it was for those things I would have probably never gotten married.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but I would say women in abroad are a little bit different than here because here, everything is about materialistic, um, things like that. More, I would say, Caribbean African women are
Mm-hmm.
more of like traditional and family oriented things like that. I would say that's my aspect of it. Basically, the question.
Okay. So the question is, what is your view of marriage? Like, let me go first. This is how I view marriage, because I was talking about the fact that some people don't even understand what marriage is all about, right? I view marriage as a place where two people come together, right, to bond and have family, build each other, build generational wealth, create a level of impact, and allow the children to continue from where you have stopped, right? But that does not mean that your marriage will be perfect. Of course, you will have moments where you guys will fight, you will argue. But when I say fight, just like exchange of words, it's normal, it's very common, even in family. In a family, you and your siblings, right? You have some, you and your siblings, you have some certain moments in your life where you guys don't agree on some certain topics, right? So even in marriages is possible. So when I see people say, oh, they divorced because the husband and the wife fighted or had a fight, I mean, sorry, that was a grammatical blunder, had a fight, and that's the reason why they choose to divorce. That is not a good perspective of divorcing. Another aspect is where the wife refuses to cook and the man refuses to cook and they both divorce. That is also not a good reason why people should divorce. Another aspect is the one of fertility. Probably both party are not fertile. That is also still not a good reason to divorce. Now we have surrogacy, we have adoption. Another aspect is religion. The maybe the other couple is a Catholic, or maybe this other person is a Presbyterian, or maybe this person is a Muslim, or an or different religion. That is still not a reason to divorce. Another aspect is maybe communication, silent treatment, anger. But anger is different. We have anger with words and anger with action. I think people need to understand this part. Anger with words is when somebody is angry, they say it. Anger with action is the one where they slap you, pa, or punch you, whoo. That one is two different things. If you are divorcing anger for word, that is not an excuse why you should divorce, because you guys are just exchanging words. But if it's anger for action, that is when I will call it domestic abuse. Either man or a woman beating each other, that is reason why you should even break up in the first place. If your wife is beating you or your husband is beating you, that is a red flag. So try, do you now understand how I'm viewing like my perspective of marriage? So there, everybody have different perspective, but this is just what me I see. Do you understand? So do you want to continue or you want me to keep explaining further?
Well, I would say my mind's a little bit different.
Okay.
I basically feel like if you really try hard to work through these difficult things and get some resolution, then divorce would be probably the only option. And especially if you're not happy, you can't fix it. But one thing you have to say too, people say like, it's not the other person's responsibility to make you happy first. You have to make yourself happy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not a happy person, then probably wherever you are, it's not going to work.
Hmm.
So, and then it's going to bring the other person down, and then
Yeah.
it just kills the vibe.
Hmm. That is a very good point. If you are not a happy person, in fact, that is a great point of how to see marriage. Marriage has its ups and its downs. And just like it says, sometimes you might be going through a lot of rough patches in your life. And this thing you're saying is what is happening. There are some women that when the husband does not have money any further, lost his job, lost his business, lost everything in his life, and he only has his family. That is when some women will now decide that that is the time they want to divorce. What will you call that? I will call that a level of wickedness. You don't have the fear of God in you and you need to seek help and deliverance. Because if you are marrying someone for business, then you should have probably started prostitution by now or started doing prostitution business. I know many times people come on my podcast, they feature me, they share my podcast across their platform, maybe because I'm different. Me, I don't sugarcoat. If you know me very well, you know I'm one of the most honest people you can. I don't know how to lie to you. I would rather tell it to your face. If you don't like me, that is fine. But if you as a woman, you are marrying for the sake of business, I don't want to say God should punish you. I don't want to use cursing words. But if you are married for the sake of business without no agenda of love, on behalf of men, I say God punish you. May you seek may you seek karma in your life. Terrible ones. Because you are hurting that man by going into that marriage with that perspective of seeing him as business. Why did you get married in the first place? Why not just do prostitution and spread your legs and collect money from these men? Must you get married? Must you? Then the same thing for a man. If you are marrying that woman because of business, God will punish you. I have seen this happen where some men, some younger men marry an older woman, and some older men marry a younger woman. Different reasons. Everybody going to marriage with different reasons, either for business or for love, and that is why you see divorce rate up and down. The man goes bankrupt, and the next thing you want to do is divorce him. I was watching a video on X, and the guy jokingly was asking his girlfriend that, if I am bankrupt, would you stay? Do you know what the stupid girl said? She said she would leave him and go and meet another man. That's what she said. Can you hear the stupidity in her words? And that is how many women are in marriage. So women are married not because of their children. It's because of the money their husband is giving them. The same thing with some men. If you are marrying for business, I say it again, God will punish you. Because God did not bring, if we go back to the book of Genesis, because I went to a Bible school and I have certificates, we can argue this from day and night. And I will tell you, in the book of Genesis, God said a man and a woman shall cleave unto each other and become one flesh. That one flesh does not mean you are going into marriage for the sake of using that person for exploitation, using him to save your family from bankruptcy or from debt. He owes no one anything. Just because he loves you does not mean he's obligated to do all of it. The same thing with the man. Just because she loves you does not mean she's obligated to carry all your family responsibility. This is why we encourage entrepreneurship and getting a skills and getting a degree and getting a career. People can only do their part. You don't expect a man struggling, wake up from 3 a.m., go do 4 to 5 shifts, 6 shifts, 7 shifts. Then things goes rough. You were collecting all the money that time. It was sweeting you. You were giving him pet name, the love of your life, my sugar, my tea, my honey. Which other nickname did they give married spouse? The number to my heart, or whatever. And then when he says, babe, I don't have money, that is when you say, honey, let us divorce. You are a foolish woman. Because even in the Bible talks about the virtuous woman, a woman that keeps her home. When things are going rough, you go into prayer. You pray for that man. That's classify you as a wise woman. That's why I say some men don't even know who they are marrying. Like Trevor said, some of you men don't communicate. Once you see big yams, you see big breasts, your life has finished. There is more to a woman's body. This is a master class I'm giving. Me, I am a coach. I am not a marriage counselor. I only coach. I'm not a marriage. Before you come to my DM and come and be asking me to give you, I don't have any counsel to give you. I can only coach you. Go and counsel yourself. I am single. I've never been married before. So I cannot teach you how to live your marital life. Am I right, Trey? You have to make the right choice to know how to live your life.
Yes.
If you are expecting me to come and tell you that divorce your husband, if there is any coach or any counselor you go and meet and tells you, maybe you went to go and meet the coach and therapist and say, my husband does not give me money again because he says he got out of the job. What should I do? And then the coach is not telling you, or the counselor is not telling you to go and divorce. That person is a foolish person. You went to a fake therapist because the person you are talking to is inside that marriage and you don't know whether the husband have money or not. That is when they say don't involve third party. That is one of it. I am not saying having a therapist is not good, but if your therapist is even siding you to get out of the marriage and not had any value, but all you do is take, then that person is not telling you the sincere truth, because the truth is bitter. If your husband is going through rough patch in his life, what do you do as a married woman? Let me give you a simple step, even though I'm not married. Number one, pray for him. If you, before you got married, you were not a praying type, you should never even enter marriage in your life. I'm sorry to say. Because marriage alone is a spiritual war. I'm not here to preach. I'm not a pastor wife. But though some people call me pastor because I preach the Bible and I'm an advocate of God, I love God so much. I've never for once go out there and not say I don't love him. I love God so much that I talk so much about him, because God is really powerful in our life. So yes, with my full chest, I am an ambassador of the gospel of Jesus Christ and our Heavenly Father. Try is try. Try, what do you say? What do you think? This podcast is getting hot, right?
I was already there. I gotta go search for my fire extinguisher.
Okay. All right. Do you think we should continue this series again another time? How many minutes are you going to give me so that I can wrap it up?
Take your time.
Okay. So as I was saying, number one, you should pray for your husband. If, like I said, if you're a woman or a man, even a man, if you don't have the gift to pray, not even gift, is a skill, you can learn it. If you cannot learn how to pray, don't enter marriage. Because many men go into marriage thinking the woman have to do the prayer alone. My brother, you are not ready for marriage. You are not ready for marriage. Because marriage, like I said, is a war on its own. Everybody is fighting their demons, their battles. So your wife is an additional to your prayer points. But that does not mean you will fold your hands and not pray and not go on your knees. If you have not been doing that in your marriage and you're listening to this podcast, this is an encouragement to you to step up and start praying. Pray for your wife, pray for your children. Save that marriage. If you want to save it, pray. So when things goes wrong within the spouse, either your wife lost her job or your husband, whatever, pray. Number two, do not be judgmental. I don't think when situations like this happen, that is the best thing for you to say. You are a useless man. You are a useless husband. You are a useless wife. You are good for nothing. You don't have anything in this life. You are stupid. You are this. You don't have sense. I'm sorry to say, you don't have sense. Somebody is telling you that they don't have money. They lost their job. The next thing you are telling him is that the person is good for nothing. Are you good for something? You that is condemning that person, are you good for something? Because if you are good for something, the man will not be doing everything on his own. So before you judge somebody, as the Bible will say, before you judge someone, judge yourself first. So if you know you have that judgmental habit of judging people, especially those people that they used to judge married women, how they dress, you that dress modest, yet you have bad character. If we see this topic alone, that's why I'm asking Trey, how many hours do you want us to? Because if we go deep into this marriage, we will scatter a lot. Marriage is not all about how you dress. A man can wear tattoo and still be the best husband. He can wear dreadlock and still be the best husband. It's not by the approach. He might have big tummy, he might still be the best husband. He may not have six pack, he might still be the best husband. Some women they marry men because they have six packs. If that is the reason you are getting married as a woman, you don't have sense. You don't. Because it's not that six pack that will save that marriage. Then, number three, like I said, you pray, you are not judgmental. Then, number three, you have to be kind. When I say kind, you have to be kind in your words, in your thoughts, in your action. You cannot be kind and be showing an ugly frown face. You know when somebody is frowning because you know he doesn't have money, he lost his job. The next thing, every time you see him, you're frowning. Why? Why? Why are you frowning? Why don't you even go out there and go and look for a job too? And see how it is, how job can be scarce. At least go out for 1 month before your eye open and you have sense. Then you will know that it's not easy. So when your husband, after he has told you the next morning, what I expect from you as a wife or as a husband in both ways, you give your husband a kiss or a peck, or you hug him. Make him feel love. Make her feel love. Some of you people, I don't know how some people do marriages, but sometimes, anytime I hear some stories like this, it pisses me off. Because this is not the time for you to be frowning your face. When you're frowning your face, how do you want him to feel? He will not feel happy. He won't feel at home. He would rather prefer to go outside and come home. Because his home is like a terror. The same thing with the woman. When you see them, they wake up in the morning, you serve them tea, you hug them, you peg them, you kiss them. That way, you are keeping your marriage and removing it from, yes, the husband or the wife lost their job. The world has not come to an end. When one door closes, another door opens. You just have to be patient, which brings me to my next quality, patience. And you see that word patience, some people don't have it. Some people lack patience in their life. They cannot be patient. They want everything fast, 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 fast. Probably you and your husband, you went out. You now saw one of your classmates in school now riding a very expensive cars, wearing expensive clothes, and you and your husband, you're looking so simple. And then you are now thinking in your life that, God, I wish this is so fast. Do you have an idea of what those people are doing to keep up? Whether they are doing scamming stuff, fraudulent things? You have no idea of how people are making their money. So you need to learn to mind your business and mind your own business. Face the one in your home, in your marital home, and be patient. But you see, many women and men are not patient. They are not patient at all. Some men are not patient to stay in marriage again because if the bills are too much, they leave. Especially when the wife is not contributing. So women too are not patient enough. If the man loses his job today, the marriage is over. And then you people will go in the marriage vow and say, I promise to stick with you through thick and thin. Please, while you were reading the marriage vow, please, is it that your ear was deaf? You were not paying attention to the vows? Because the vows have already simplified everything that will go on in the marriage. It has simplified everything that will go on in the marriage. So that means you need to have what we call endurance spirit. And think of possible ideas. That time you are thinking of running away, think of how to do business, how to get a degree, do something different. But some of you, when the thing gets too hard, you run away. If you are the type of person that have this habit, you can never last in marriage. You can never. Because sometimes challenges in life are only temporarily. And if you are the type of person that run away from challenges instead of confronting it, please do not go into marriage. It's not for you. So try I think I've said a lot about that. He also mentioned aside finances, communication. If you don't know how to communicate, if you guys are not always in talking term, you guys don't talk. All you people do is ping on your phone, ping today, ping tomorrow, ping the next day. You don't talk, have a one-on-one communication, get to know each other. You people are not supposed to be married. You don't know when your husband's birthday is. You don't know the day of your wife's birthday. When is your anniversary? You don't know. You don't even know the day of your children's birthday. You don't even know the school your children are going to. You don't know the company your husband works for or the company your wife works for. I don't think any of you should be in marriage at all. You don't even know the name of your husband's mother or your wife's mother. You don't know. Then please, why are you people married? You don't know what is your husband's favorite food or your wife's favorite food or your children's favorite food. Please, why are you in marriage? Or what does your husband likes to do? Whether I like football, whether I like soccer, whether I like wrestling, whether I like music, whether I likes to travel, whether I likes to sing. None of it. The same thing, you don't know what your wife does, what she likes to do. I think many people, before you marry, you need to evaluate yourself and understand, why do you want to marry? Are you marrying for love or you are marrying for business? Then the third thing he said, he talked about, I think I mentioned finances, communication. The third thing was alignment. If you guys don't align, you don't understand each other, that is a red flag. You need to understand each other. Then he talked about the aspect of happiness. And Trevor said something. He said, if you're not happy with your own self, how can you be happy inside your marriage? I think you need to have a think of it. If you are the type of person, you are a depressed person normally, any small thing you are depressed, please do not enter marriage. Marriage is not for you. Because you need to come in with excitement. That is why sometimes I laugh when some men, they marry for looks, they marry for body. They don't know the reason why they are getting married. You need to marry someone that every day the person is always smiling. Even if the person don't smile, the person laugh. The person, when they are watching film, they are laughing. Ha 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 ha, yeah, yeah. Some people will just be laughing today. They will say, this is why they talk marriage. But it's the truth. You know, you need to marry someone that can laugh. When you are saying something funny as a husband, your wife is laughing. When your wife is saying something funny, the husband is laughing. If people are inside marriage, nobody is laughing. What are you doing in the marriage? What are you doing in that marriage if you people cannot laugh at each other? Any small thing, you people will vex. No laugh, nothing. Then you are not in the right marriage. You need a marriage of yourself. Go and marry yourself. Then what other thing did you say again, Otre? I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on to the, we love a good wedding, the cake, the dancing, the breathless promise of forever. As a culture, we are heavily invested in the starting line of love, but the reality of a long-term partnership and the complex truth of what happens when that partnership ends rarely fit nearly into a fairy tale narrative. Like this aspect, I think Trey, you're gonna share your contribution of this, but let me go first. For me personally, if you are doing marriage, for me personally, you can quote me anywhere. I do not buy the idea of expensive marriage or expensive wedding. If your wedding already enough, maybe you people don't even have savings in your account, that money that you are supposed to use and save into your account, you go and use it and do expensive wedding, you are on your own. You are on your own, because when you go into debt, it's between you and your wife. So there is nothing bad in doing a court marriage. Cut your coat according to your size. Dem no send you na message. There is nothing bad in doing your marriage in your house. You don't need to go and use event center, especially here in this Nigeria economy. We are not even talking about you that is abroad, because you share your perspective. If you are doing a marriage where you people don't have plenty money, you now go and rent event hall of 1.5 million and 10 million, and your salary is 30,000 naira. You now no get sense. You don't have sense. And if the woman is the one encouraging you to do it, she does not have sense. You want the whole world to know that you are going to do an expensive wedding. Even the wedding dress is expensive. Today I see some very smart women. They wear what they call agbada. We will talk more on that, but let's straight say his own perspective. So what do you think about marriages that are usually expensive? What's your view on marriages where people spend on the wedding before the marriage happens? Let's hear from you.
I believe those usually is a facade. If people like want to make themselves bigger than what they're, it's like a big show off. Because the most marriages that actually last are the ones that are very small and intimate. The
Mm-hmm.
ones that are lavish. You end up spending. You can take out long marriages like wedding maybe $20,000. Then you're paying that. And then okay, or you get the ring for so much money. Woman wants a nice big ring, and you finance the ring. But the marriage only lasts a year and a half, 2 or 3 years, or even less 5 years, then it's done. So now you're stuck paying with the divorce and the pre-marriage, which is crazy.
Thank you so much. I agree with you. It sounds really dumb. If you are going for a marriage you cannot afford, if the woman you are getting married to tells you, only I want my wedding ring to be worth 10 million, and you know that your salary is not up to 10 million naira, please run away. Run away. It's not a must you must marry that person. No wedding should cost you your life. You shouldn't go into debt because you want to marry. Just like he said, have a simple marriage. Have a simple marriage. Yes, I wrote a book called A Simple Life. If you want to learn about living life simplicity, read my book. But I'm not using this platform to just advertise my book. I'm telling you that there is nothing as beautiful, like he said, as a marriage that is very simple. A marriage that don't need to do show off, like all these celebrity marriages. That's why many celebrities marriages don't last, because they're trying to keep up with the trend. They want you to know that they bought the most expensive vehicle. It is none of our damn fucking business. Do as you like. People don't really care. If you think people care, some people are thinking of how they will eat this money. Some people are thinking of the bills they need to pay. And you are busy showing off. Not everybody has time to even choke mouth in your business. You are the one seeing it that way. So yes, please cut your coat according to your size before you get married. And be with somebody that can understand that. If the person is not saying, oh, you're too broke, I don't like a broke person, auntie, you self you broke, because you self carry that money now, carry and go do the wedding, not be by force. The next one is the weight of I do. A marriage is not a static achievement you unlock. It is a living ecosystem that requires constant trading. When two people decide to merge their life, they are agreeing to navigate the decades of change together. So, Tre, what do you think about when people say I do? Do you feel some people
I feel
just okay? Yeah, go on.
I feel that people just want to say it because this is formality.
Mm-hmm.
Because we, if you really search or think about the I do, all the elements in it, it's like it is very few people that look for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when you are having your marriage vow, and it's time for you to say I do. For those of us that have not been married, I think we need to gather and sit together and hear me out. Before you say that word, I want you to breathe in, breathe out. Very important. After you breathe in, you breathe out, you now ponder that word carefully for few seconds, because I know you don't have enough time to do that, but ponder a few seconds and say that word one by one. When you're saying that word, make sure that that word is not just you're saying it for saying sake. You are saying it because you mean it, that when you enter into that marriage, you will love and protect. I do that. I will love and protect my husband. I do that. I will love and protect my wife. Protection is not just fighting the person away from bad people. Protection could be praying for them. Like I said, if you know you don't know how to pray, don't enter marriage. Because the word I do is a very powerful word. So please take it seriously. The challenges of marriage isn't just about sharing a bank account or dividing household chores. It's about the emotional labor of staying connected while you both inevitably involve. The person you marry at 25 will not be the same person you marry at 40. Trey, what can you say?
People are going to grow in many different ways. You would think you'll be one will be a lot more mature at 40 than 25. It would do things differently. And people change. Mindsets change, opinions change, beliefs change. And so we're always changing as we grow older.
Hmm, that's true. Um, then the aspect of sharing bank accounts. Do you agree that couples should share bank accounts or they should have a separate bank account?
I believe they should have one, like a small account together, but people should be able to have their own bank accounts.
Good. All right. Okay, here's my own perspective. Have a separate bank account and have a joint bank account. Why I say so is this. If you know you want to enter marriage and you don't want to join each other's money to contribute to the aspect of that marriage, please don't get married. Please do not get married. I have no problem with you having a separate bank account. It's your bank account. But I will have a problem if the both of you are not contributing. And the only way you can do that is by having a joint bank account. Where he put in money, you put in money. There is nothing like, oh, you have to call your husband or you have to call your wife that you need to pay this so school fees. By the time you want to do the calling, because you both have joined each other's accounts, despite your separate bank account, you have put money together, like you have an account for you and yourself. Then the account to your children will have access to it. Marriage is not a small topic. Oh. It's not a small thing. Marriage, I don't even know. Maybe that is why people think I'm married, but I'm not married. But I know that if you are a married person, your children must have access to that account. But they will have access when they clock 18 years of age, not 16. 18 years of age, when they are of an adult state, they want to enter university. There's nothing like the children calling you and saying, mommy, our lecturer says this, or our supervisor says this. Mm-mm. The children already has the ATM card. They will just go, open it. They don't pay school fees. And you will monitor it. You know when to lock that account. This is technology now. Am I right, Trey? You know when to lock the account. If that your pikin, that your child, I'm sorry, I have to speak Nigerian language. If that your pikin, that your child is taking money out of the amount they tell you, lock it. Discipline that child. Restrict that child from not having access to it. When that child head all correct, when he goes street, he go us one, you no go try am again. Simple and short. Because I know that when bank account like that are joint, it comes with a lot of risk. The same thing with your husband. If your husband take out of that money and go and carry it and go and give woman, lock that money. Before any withdrawal, you guys will have what we call a bank manager. See, let me tell you, it's very important you marry somebody educated. Not just educate. Education is not just by going to school alone. They must have what we call proper self-education. If you're marrying somebody, see, an illiterate can be the most educated person without no degree. That's why we see many of them more successful than even a degree holder because of self-education. If you are marrying somebody that don't have self-education, not just because they went to school. Some people go to school and they did not learn anything. Finish. Some people go to school, they come back to school, they learn properly. You must have what we call a bank manager. The way I'm even speaking, you think I'm married, but I'm not. That bank manager, your husband or your wife and your children will go and seek for consent in that bank, and they will state the reason of why they are withdrawing. If them bond them, well, let them state wrong reason. They will not withdraw shishi in their account. Because in the course of law, because we have what we call divorce law, they will tell you the evidence of the receipt in that bank, what this person said was going to use it for. And then if the person does not bring up the evidence that this was what they use it for, they will return back that money. Either the child or the husband or the wife. That is how the court of law works. So yes, there is no need for your daughter and your son to be calling you up and down that they want to do this, they want to do that. If you have a bank account strictly for your family, I don't know the name of your family, whether the name of your family is Adam's family or Charles family or Chiamaka family, whatever name you people want to put in your bank account, that is your business. But have a bank account. That bank account is not just going to plan the life of your children, but also the life of your next generation to come. Why do you think all these most successful men are richer? Because of the level of self-education they have given themselves. And that is why they say a poor man will be a poor man, an average man will be an average man, a rich man will be a rich man. And that is why when you are marrying, marry somebody that have sense. If the reason you are marrying a man is because he have big prick, I'm sorry, I have to be raw. If you are marrying a man because he have big prick, you don't have sense. If you are marrying a man because he have short prick, you don't have sense. Because that is not the reason you should be married to someone. You should be married to someone that have self-education. So yes, you guys must have a bank account. Your separate account, good. But that other one, you guys will be putting in money there. Because you need to plan as couples. That's why sometimes when I see some couples, they from outside, when you are seeing them going, you are irritated. Because you know that these people, they don't have anything joint. When you and your partner, you have something joint, the two of you now head go correct. Because you know that in divorce, you'll be able to split property. Nobody will tell you to divorce. You will calm down and save that marriage. There are so many ways to save marriage. But we are not talking about that today. Let's move on. We are just making it neutral. Trey, do we still have time, or I should wrap it up?
No, you should start wrapping it up.
Okay, all right. I think let me just stop at that. Means we'll have to continue in another series. We'll call this volume 1, right? Volume 1 with Trey, and it will let us know when next it will need to come on this podcast. So probably another month time, right? Because Trey is a very busy person. Okay, so let's wrap it up, and Trey, let me just what advice, let's wrap it up with, what advice can you give someone as a divorcee now? What advice can you give someone who is about to enter marriage? Let's wrap it up that way.
Just make sure that you're on the same page. Your values align with each other. You know what you want, what they expect, and the communication part is key, because if you're not on the same page and something happens, as long as you go back to, well, did you talk about that? Did you discuss this? No, I didn't know. Then you're gonna be looking kind of, people be looking at you sideways. So I would say main thing is communication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, communication. That's good. So I will just wrap it up and say LD marriage relies on few things. Active choice. Love is a feeling, but marriage is a daily decision. You have to actively choose your partner even on the days when they are frustrating, stress, or difficult. Conflict as a two. Couples will last aren't the ones who never fight. Anybody that tells you they don't fight, they are lying. They are the ones who learn how to fight productively. I'm trying to wrap up, sorry. Conflict, when handled with respect, you guys have to respect each other. It's just a mechanism for finding a deeper understanding. Boring is good. The most successful marriage are built in the mundane moment, grocery shopping, doing the dishes, sitting in comfortable silence. There's nothing bad in being silent. Okay, when forever changes shape, despite our best intention and hardest work, not all marriages are meant to last a lifetime. And as a society, we desperately need to stop framing every divorce as a moral failure. So if you ever hear somebody say, I'm a divorced person, never stereotype them. That should not be the reason why you say, oh, I cannot marry you or I cannot date you because you're a divorcee. Maybe in the next podcast series we have again with Trey, it will definitely talk about the divorce stereotypes later on. Divorce is rarely a sudden explosion. More often, it is a slow erosion. It's the realization that two people have grown in parallel lines that no longer intersect, or that the foundation was compromised by breaches of trust, fundamental incompatibilities, or a breakdown in communication that simply cannot be repaired. Living a marriage is agonizing, but sometimes a successful marriage is one that ends before it completely breaks the people inside it. Recognizing that a dynamic is no longer healthy and having the bravery to step into the unknown is an act of profound self preservation. The grief and the blank state. Navigating a divorce is a unique kind of grief. You are mourning not just the loss of your partner, but the loss of the future you have planned, your shared identity, and the comfort of familiarity. The aftermath of divorce. Divorce is messy. It involves disentangling finances, living spaces, and sometimes co-parenting. But beneath the stress and sorrow, there is also the quiet emergence of a blank slate. Divorces forces you to ask questions that you may have ignored for years. Who am I when I am not half of a couple? What do I actually want my life to look like? What are my non-negotiables moving forward? This will help you in your next marriages. The courage to choose your path. Whether you are celebrating your 20th anniversary or you're signing your final separation paper, your experience is valid. Marriage is a beautiful, rigorous discipline that teaches us how to love someone through the seasons of their life. Divorce is a painful, vital transition that teaches us how to advocate for our own well being. Both paths requires us to face our truth, make difficult choices, and ultimately find the resilience to keep moving forward. Thank you for listening to the end of the series. So, Trey, can you tell them your contact details? How can they reach out to you if they want to work with you regarding your tourism guide?
Adventures tours, anyone, send me a website.
Okay.
Or you can also contact me email at adventuresny@gmail.com.
Okay.
Um, and then also contact me on the WhatsApp. All information should be in the bio.
Yeah, I will
So,
definitely put it. Thank you so much, Trev, for coming on this series. I am so glad to have you on board. Thank you for, coming to share your insight. And we'll see you in the next series. I know a lot of people will be interested for this because this is the first series we did and it's a bump. Like it really makes so much. I didn't even know I could talk this much, even though I'm not married.
right.
All right. So thank you so much, Trey.
Thank you
I
for having
was
me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Trey. And all of his description, his podcast channel, everything will be in the link. Yeah, just subscribe and plug in. And once again, it's Digital Being Pay Podcast, and we are into media, marketing, tech, and education. And don't forget to subscribe and keep following. And see you same time next series next month by the grace of God. Bye.